Just waiting to see if Jairus jumps on. So for now, just chilling. Hello. Let me wave at, yeah. Just waiting for Jairus right now. So we're gonna do a reading, and hopefully this enlightens some of you that are interested in knowing what a reading looks like. And also maybe the question and answers might resonate to you also. So let's see. Jairus is coming. Yeah. This is cool. Oh, hey. That's
Hey, what's
crazy.
up?
We're different, whatever. Like you're sideways and I'm up. Yeah.
Better?
Yeah, totally.
What's up? How you doing? Good to
Just
see you,
get,
Taima.
where are you going?
Nowhere. This is my sacred space. It's my car.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. I like the sunroof.
Oh yeah, let me open it up real quick.
I live by a train, so I'm not sure if you guys will be able to hear train every so often. So
Okay, that's cool.
welcome to the neighborhood.
Are you in Arizona still?
Yes, I am.
Right on.
So
Hey, Benjamin.
do you have specific questions for your reading?
Yeah. Specific question is, what sort of obstacles and opportunities are there for just increasing my own practice, my own clientele for like Reiki, filmmaking, just doing stuff that I'm interested in.
Okay, cool. Let's
Yeah.
see what's up.
What's up, in-house? How you doing? More abundance. What's up, Christina? Hey.
So I'm pulling some cards right now.
Okay, cool. It's a live reading, people. Taima's an old friend from Hawaii. Um, Hilariously enough, we met each other like while filming the same concert. So that was cool. And we've been buds since.
Cool. Okay, so the first thing that I'm getting is that your spirit guides definitely want to be your business partners. So um, it's funny because like before we started the reading, I wanted to give a plug to Jacinta because she's a intuitive business coach. So she's a psychic medium, but she like one of her specialties is working with businesses and business plans and business startups. And so I wanted to give her a plug because it's like if people come to me for like career stuff, I'm definitely going to be open to hearing what the spirit guides say. But when it if someone is super serious about getting a reading with someone about like specifically what steps you should take and stuff like that, I definitely give her a recommendation. And her screen name is at Wanderlust Warrior. So based on what I'm getting right now is that your spirit guides really want to be your like business partners. So either you coming up with some sort of way to speak to your spirit guides every day yourself, like journaling, meditating, but like literally having question and answer time with them. Specifically, if you don't want to do that by yourself, having an intuitive business coach or someone that can talk to your spirit guides clearly would benefit you because it's just kind of like right now they're saying that you're at the beginning of a very long awaited journey, and there's going to be lots of ups and downs and twists and turns and surprises and all that goodness, and so they kind of just want to be with you to guide you the entire time. Um, so that's the shout out from the spirit guide saying like, hey,
Right
let's,
on.
so because there's so many, you asked about the obstacles and stuff, because there's literally so many obstacles because the terrain is so unknown right now with everyone's collective creation of reality, that's why they're like, dude, if we were to name like specifically what obstacles you have ahead of you, it would take all day, because technically there's kind of like everything's an obstacle right now. However, if you have your spirit guides in your back pocket, you can forge your own path in what looks like a no-win circumstance. So moving forward, one of the things you can do from where you are is start to contemplate specifically what type of people you have working with you. So that's not only your clients, but those are your mentors, your teachers, your peers. Um, just kind of going into meditation and visualizing what type of interaction you want with the people that you're working with. How does that resonate so far?
Yeah, it resonates.
Cool.
Just what resources, what pals, what teachers do I already have that I can just collaborate with or get deeper wisdom from?
Yes, and then also just spending time literally visualizing what your projects look like, and what the nitty gritty details of your collaborations look like. You know, do some like role playing in your mind, for short periods of time, because you don't want to like drag it on and make it too complicated. It should feel like inspired and like sustainable, meaning that you can do it frequently, where you can just kind of slip into meditation or visualization where you're feeling good and you're collaborating with someone in a certain way. So for you, maybe that's you're visualizing yourself directing a film, and like the words that are coming out of your mouth to your cast and crew are very compassionate and they inspire people, stuff like that, details like that. Do you,
All right.
do you have any like thing before I see if there's anything else about that?
I'm already seeing some doors opening up uh, with just like friends, new friends, creatives, but also just like inspired creation, like going on my story or whatever and just posting whatever the heck I want, what I'm inspired by. And it seems to be really beneficial, not just to me, but like I love sharing this stuff. And I feel like when I'm not sharing my creative works, it's kind of like, you know, overflow to the point of like you can't contain it anymore. So notice a steady stream of sharing is really helpful.
Word. Thank you for sharing.
Word.
um, so I think like the next piece of intel that's coming forth is for so the first thing that the spirit guides talked about was like, hey, we want to be your kind of like constant communication. Like they just want to be with you
Yeah,
so much. So
I welcome it. I wish I could hear them like my pals, like instead of all these little, you know, nuanced things like I see crow like 3 times in the same day or et cetera, et cetera. You see what I mean? Like, or the number 47. Like, I think I don't know if In-House is still in here, but like I saw one of their collaborators, 47 Tribe, 47 Tribe, and then I saw 47 again somewhere else, and it's just like it's easy to get, but sometimes I just want it to be like a pal speaking directly to me. I don't know. Have I closed myself off to that kind of communication?
well, that's definitely something
Maybe.
that's on the menu for the enlightened ones right now who don't already have constant communication with their spirit guides, because it's a necessity to keep moving forward. So there's like a lot of ways that you can dive deeper into that, but that's like another kind of reason why I always like funnel or point people in the direction of Jacinta, because she also has a free psychic development course. And so not only could she like teach with the business part intuitively, but she can also like teach the psychic development. And I'm going to try to have her on here on some lives and talk about psychic development. Uh,
Yeah, how do you spell her name on IG? I'll type it in on the
okay, cool.
comments.
It's at Wander, WANDERLUST I think. Wander.
Wanderlust Warrior.
Yeah. So
There it is.
so there's that, but beyond that, everyone has to kind of she'll give you like the tools on what you need to kind of tune into your psychic ability. But it's kind of like everyone's homework to practice it on a daily basis, like
Sure.
literally do the homework. So that is
Yeah.
the desire for the spirit guides to just kind of be like hand in hand with all, about business, about relationships, about everything. Um, so with that, where you are like right now, trust what does come forth. So like the 47 and the crow and all that stuff that you are already seeing and having a spirit guide communication, they are helping you build your glossary through your real life experience right now. So they know that you know what crow means. They know that you know what 47 means. And so according to that knowledge, they send you that message because you've developed that glossary together. So trust that information that's coming through is the next kind of like opportunity that you can have, because you asked for obstacles and opportunities. So the opportunity is to 100% trust your spirit guides and learn how
That's
to
hilarious.
learn how to communicate with them, so that way you know when it's spirit guide communication and when it's not your ego or fear or doubt or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll set that intention for clear communication with my guides. Thank you from the heart. It's funny that you say trust because earlier today I had a Reiki exchange with my friend Becca, and all she was getting like throughout the session when she was working on me when we switched off was trust. She literally did this, like she was like tapping her own shoulder and saying trust, trust, trust. I'm like, that's hilarious. So just gotta trust it.
Yep, you got to trust it. Because when you slip out of the trust, it's like the opposite side of trust is doubt and
Mm,
fear, and then also
yeah.
like egos in that spectrum too. And when you pendulum swing to that side, you're just out of alignment with who you are. And so whatever comes forth as far as attraction goes, like on my career or whatever, it's going to be coming from that place of doubt and stuff like that. Whereas if you just trust the opportunities that come forward and they resonate with you, you can trust that this is a response to you saying like, hey, spirit guides, lead me in the path of my success in regards to my career. Because if you trust and you go right when they tell you to go right, and you go to the grocery store at that corner instead, you might run into the very person that you've been, deliberately kind of visualizing working with.
Yeah.
Cool. Is there anything else you think?
Well, I'll be honest, like sometimes I get really fed up with like my family. Sometimes like actually recently before I came down here, that's why I'm in my car because this is like my space. You know what I'm saying? Like this is my car. But they just have to tell me I'm not doing anything. I'm like, really? Like just because I'm not, I don't know, doing things the way they think I need to be doing things. Like I'm accomplishing my goals. Like I'm working on my film projects. I'm editing. I'm practicing my inner work. And then to get something outside of me that says you're not doing anything, and I'm like, bro. And it's clearly a trigger on me. Like legit, I hear that, and it's just like for real, like screw this, I'm out. Like it's this shutting the door kind of vibe, like when I get that. But I recognize like, hey, like why is that such a trigger? Like to hear that from somebody, like they could say anything else and it would just fly right off. But when they tell me, hey, you're not doing shit, and then like I am, and it's just because they don't see it, like why do I care so much like about what my family thinks about it? I guess it's just some sort of like I want to get their approval.
Um, Thank you for sharing. That's
Yeah.
part of kind of like what we're all trying to shed right now. And that's definitely an indicator of like the fear spectrum, the doubt spectrum, the ego spectrum. And so, since you're kind of trying to mindfully be on the trust spectrum, it's very easy for you to recognize when someone else comes at you from a place of doubt or fear, misunderstanding, and thing like that. So it's like the trigger can be turned into like a good thing, because it's a very strong indicator at that point that your work is now. And so in that sense, so many strong emotions are coming up regarding something that you're focusing on. So when you feel that strong trigger, if you can excuse yourself from the situation and kind of like get your energy back to yourself, and then visualize what it is that you want, and also understand where it is that they're coming from. So once you kind of like, you can even tell yourself like, I choose to disengage from the fear, I choose to disengage from ego, I choose to disengage from doubt when you walk away. So let's just say you have like a disagreement with your dad, for example, and he goes and tells you, Jairus, you're not doing anything with your life, you're such a big disappointment, like get up and go get a job. And you start to feel these really strong emotions. You say, thanks for sharing, Dad, and you walk out and you go to your car and you take a deep breath and you say, this is my opportunity to disengage from that old school 3D reality. I choose to disengage from the 3D reality. I choose to engage with the 5D reality. I choose to engage with
Yeah.
my higher self. And at that point, because you'll be literally kind of, when that happens, it's kind of like snake bites. Like they bite you with their fangs or whatever, and then the poison that goes in is kind of like the old school way of life that we're all trying to ascend from. And so it's like, oh shit, I got bit. Oh, and you're feeling it, you got to walk away. When you do that, those affirmations that say, I choose to disengage, I choose to engage, you're literally separating yourself from that poison, and you're in a whole new vibration, a whole new reality. And at that point, understanding where they're coming from will come naturally, and having love for where they are in their evolution will just happen. And from that place, you'll feel better. You'll feel like, okay, cool, the initial sting of that argument is gone. I can breathe. I'm starting to feel cool again. And at that point, you can just go back into visualizing your career. And at that point, if you're supposed to do something action oriented, you will become inspired to go get your laptop, to call that person or whatever. So like, after you spend time in the vibration of knowing what you want and visualizing what you want, at that point when you get inspired action, trust that too. So trust is like a big thing, like your friend was saying. So you're trusting your spirit guides communication, you're trusting your inspired action, and you're just trust is like the new way to go.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess like the last kind of thing about the whole like family thing is that right now we're all kind of like going up and down the scale of evolution, and some are choosing to evolve and some are just choosing to kind of go on what they know from the past and go on default. And like evolution itself is becoming conscious of your choices, and so that's why the choosing to engage and disengage is so freaking powerful.
For real.
So when you get to that place where you're understanding where they're coming from, they're just in their 3D reality, like whatever they want to do is their freaking business. I'm just going to do mine. Remember that, like, even though you're related to someone or in a relationship with someone or whatever your relationship may be, that you literally are an independent entity, and that you have your own free will to choose whatever it is that you want. And so knowing that on a fundamental level, I am my own being and I choose my own things, should give you some sense of freedom to continue to live like the life that you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. It's like playing a cameo in someone else's movie instead of being in my own movie as my own star. You know, like everybody has their own life and going through their own experiences, and we intertwine. It's just that when I overextend like my duration in somebody else's experience at the cost of my own, like, hey man, this is my life. Like, sure you want me to come with you here, or sure this person wants me to go do this, and et cetera, but is it what I want to do? Like, or are they just trying to keep me as a cameo in their movie? Like, I noticed that pull, and just honoring that, like, I am my own, like, my own, this is my life, you know, and everyone's entitled to experience their own without feeling shackled to somebody else who tells them, hey, like, this is how you're going to run it, this is what you're going to do today. I'm literally like, I totally protest against that stuff. Like,
Well,
and so, yeah,
when it comes to laying the groundwork because earlier we had talked about how one of your like tasks or whatever is to spend more time visualizing the type of people that you want to work with. This is kind of like
Yeah.
the same thing, just branched off into your family. It's kind of like, since thoughts become things and we're having to like kind of start from scratch in a lot of areas, we do have to put in the time and energy when we feel like we have it to visualize the type of relationship that we want with people. And that means like spending time when you're feeling good, imagining your parents coming up to you and saying, I'm very proud of you. You did great today. Good
Hmm.
job. You know, whatever it is that you're desiring, it's important that when we're feeling non-resistant to at least give that a few seconds of our time and energy and put it into an escrow of creation.
Yeah.
So I can see that for you, like just spend some time thinking about and visualizing what it feels like and what it sounds like and all that stuff when your parents tell you what they want, what you want them to say to you and stuff. You are the creator of your own reality, and this will give you like evidence, like recently I asked this person who has like a ton of followers and stuff, and they were asking me about personal growth, and I asked them like, what kind of evidence are you receiving in your spiritual growth? And I'm not sure if like we understood each other, or if there was a misunderstanding, but I felt or projected that he was like upset that I asked for evidence. He said, like, you don't get evidence when you're on a spiritual path. And I really disagree with that, because evidence is like everywhere. Evidence that you're on the right path is just feeling at peace. There's just so many different levels of evidence of spiritual
Yeah.
growth and stuff.
Yeah. Totally. I've seen a lot of evidence with just any old creation I make, whether it's a story on my page or a legit video I post or just a session like an exchange of Reiki or whatever it might be, going to that photo shoot, like stepping out of my comfort zone and creating something with the intention to be of service and to have a fun time while doing it. That's when I see my evidence.
And so, like, the next step, I know it's like kind of counterproductive, because we're taught, that we're not supposed to seek fame or anything like that. And I'm not trying to tell you to seek fame, but I guess the next part of that is like, well, everything you just said about being in service, like, how do you can ask yourself, how do my parents feel about that fundamentally? And then you can start to see how it is now and then visualize what it is that you want it to be. So your parents being very kind of honored that they have a son that does things in service and has a good time, and that's where their head is and stuff like that. So I would say, not only knowing what it is that you want, but if you're having trouble with like family or friends or anything, just making sure you spend time visualizing those solutions. And not a lot of time. You don't want to put like all kinds of energy into it. Make it easy and fun, because that right now evolving is becoming more conscious of what you're thinking and what you're choosing and what you're creating in that moment. So if you have
Totally.
the awareness, you can tell yourself, oh, right now I'm thinking about my family. Cool. I feel like I'm in a place where I could like literally throw in a little visualization.
Legit. Yeah. Because there are certain moments where it's like, you know, picture perfect, paradise, heaven on earth. And I'm so blessed that I get glimpses of that like at least a couple times in a day, where it just feels like a movie scene, but a timeless film of joy and peace and serenity within. And I haven't brought it to the family just yet, but I have been bringing it to myself back home, like when I'm in bed, when I'm going through the routine. So I'll just like be in this vivid experience, like on the top of this parking tower at night, like with forest all around me, looking out at the skyscrapers of Chicago, feeling that type of way, and I'll send it to myself, like back home in bed, like when I'm not experiencing that sensational high, like just coating myself, like saving it for later, like a meal prep. You know what I'm saying? Like to save the vibes and store them for that.
That's cool.
So yeah, but I'm gonna bring it to my family.
Yeah. And also, earlier we talked about like visualizing people that you want to work with. Like now it's becoming clear that like work with might also mean something a little larger, like what kind of community do you want to live with? What kind of community do you want to interact with on a very consistent basis? Like, what kind of people do you want to see most of the time? Right now, if you're at home, you're probably spending most of your time with your family, but are those the people that you desire to spend most of your time with? So becoming conscious of that right now before you jump into any action steps, you're laying like the groundwork, so that way you know exactly from where you're attracting those action steps.
Yeah, inspired people, creative people, people who are appreciative for their lives, people that want to help others, that know that they have tools that they can use to share and help and have a great time and collab and just hang out. People that, they can do the work, but they can also take a step back and just enjoy like what they've accomplished too. Like people I can just laugh my ass off with, like things like that. Like friends for life. Yeah.
So the very, very last thing that I'm kind of getting before we wrap up is that even though you might not really enjoy your living situation 100% of the time, or whatever's going on in your close community, it does feel and seem like you are in a position where, even though every once in a while someone says, hey, you're not doing anything, for the most part, you live in a safe environment where someone's just not going to throw you out on the street or abuse you or evict you or something crazy. You have people that they're expressing their distaste, but they're not kind of going to do anything that really harms you. And so that's a huge privilege. And so you have the opportunity, if your vision really benefits others, then use the privilege that you're being given right now, even though sometimes it's distasteful for you, to sit and visualize and do these things, so that way when it's time to take action, you'll be ready, because you are at a place where you're at a little bit of a higher ground than a lot of people. And so you getting prepared and being able to continue to work and climb, you could turn around and lend a hand out to someone that needs a little boost, or does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I'm super blessed. And sometimes it's just like I'm so blessed that I become blind to it, you know? And it's like a sleepwalk. But, immediately things come in that just like they don't necessarily smack me upside the head, but just really humble moments, like going into certain parts of town where, all these things like running water, heat, a family that loves me, like they're huge blessings. And no one's like sick with this virus in my family. Huge blessings. I've been aware of people whose fathers like died from this thing, whose brothers like have died, like some serious shit. And these are all storms that are going all over the place. And like how blessed like are we that these things aren't happening to us, but they're right next door. It's literally like the tornado comes, destroys the house right next to me, but I'm all right. Like shit. So just some real massive like gratitude and appreciation for that. And yeah,
I want to
it really
interject
moves
right there.
me.
Sorry for interrupting,
Yeah,
but like
do
that
it. Go ahead.
that is evidence, like I was talking about earlier, that is evidence that you are your own creator. That even though you're friends with someone, you're in a relationship with someone, you're family members with someone, if they are creating their reality and they end up going through some kind of tragedy, it most likely from birth, from the spectrum of doubt, fear, ego, hate, all that stuff, the opposite of love and trust. And so when others get infected with that vibration, and we have the consciousness to disengage from it, that's totally testament in real life situations that you are creating your own experience.
Yeah.
Blessed to be creator. So I think we should wrap it up. But I'm so grateful to
Okay.
have done this, and maybe we could do something else online. I'm gonna try to get some people to talk about astrology, and definitely ask Jacinta to talk about psychic development and maybe a couple other things. So
Yeah, if you're still on, whoever these three people are, hello. Go follow Taima at Shaman of the Tao. Great content. I love your stuff. You have some funny ass spiritual memes too, so
Oh, that's cute.
they're
And
hilarious.
thank you so much. Can you plug yourself too?
Yeah, you can find me at jcast_117 on Instagram. Check out my stories. I love posting on the stories. It's a lot of fun. Just stuff from my everyday, raps, adventures, whatever. It's a variety.
Nice. Yes. And definitely check out your Instagram TV and YouTube.
Yeah, yeah, totally. YouTube, you can find me at JCast Productions, and I have some content that I'm migrating over from another channel over there too. So, JCast Productions.
Yeah, cool. All right. Aloha, everybody.
Aloha. Thank you, Tama. See ya. Bye, everybody.